Mr. President, Mr. Prime Minister, honourable members, on behalf of President Juncker, who is preparing the State of the Union address that will be delivered tomorrow to this House, I am delighted to take part in this Future of Europe debate in the presence of Prime Minister Alexis Tsipras. I had the opportunity to work closely with Prime Minister Tsipras over the last few years. Most recently, we had a very good exchange on Greece and the future of Europe when I visited Athens in June. Before I turn to our debate, let me first express our deep sympathy and solidarity to those affected by the terrible forest fires. The Commission stands at your side, and we must make sure such tragedy will never repeat. Greece, its people and Greek civilization have shaped Europe and its underlying values. One can safely say that the Greeks invented democracy, and above all, they knew how to defend it when it was under threat. This allowed their country to join the European Union under enduring a terrible dictatorship, thus proving that the future belongs to those who have the courage not to succumb to resignation, the determination to face up to difficulties, and take their fate into their own hands. Yes, the future belongs to those who choose to be architects of history. Greece is not only of historic importance to Europe, but it's also important to the future of Europe. It is impossible to imagine the future of Europe without Greece's contribution. I'm thinking in particular of its vital role in the stability of the Western Balkans, a region with a turbulent history which needs firm reassurance about the prospect of EU membership in order to avoid a repetition of the tragedies we witnessed in the 1990s. And I would like once again to pay tribute to the courage and leadership of the Prime Ministers Tsipras and Zaev, who have acted in a spirit of openness and compromise in order to break a long-standing deadlock that served the interests of neither country. They have set an example for the whole region and the wider world. I'm also thinking of the future of our economic and monetary union and the harsh lessons which together we had to learn from the crisis in the last 10 years that hit Greece so hard. Although others took a different view, the Commission has always believed that Greece has its rightful place in the euro area. I'd like to pay tribute to the unprecedented efforts made by the Greek people to maintain Greece's rightful place at the heart of the European Union. This summer, Greece has turned a new page. It has brought the stability programme to the successful close. It has put its public finances in order and even exceeded its budgetary targets. Its economy is on the rise. This year and next, it's set to grow by 2%. Unemployment has already fallen sharply, although it's still unacceptably high. Over 100,000 new jobs have been created since the stability programme began. The credit to this achievement is shared between the Greeks and their European partners. It is a product of Europe's recipe for success, which combines solidarity with responsibility. Solidarity shown by the European partners has been unprecedented, both in terms of the financial assistance and in terms of support for reforms. The people of Greece have been strong in taking the responsibility. Their efforts and sacrifices have laid the basis for this sustainable upturn. These are solid foundations on which Greece can now build. Yet there are still economic challenges to overcome. The best investment Greece can now make is to build confidence in its economy. That requires staying the course of responsible fiscal policies and reforms. This is a way to ensure a long-lasting economic growth and a constant improvement of living conditions for the Greek people. In such a case, I do not exclude that the Greek economy will surprise us on the upside. When I see the courage and determination which Greek people have already shown, I am confident that they will succeed. And Greece can continue to rely on the solidarity from its European partners. In our Union, responsibility and solidarity go hand in hand. We proved as much when we drew lessons from the crisis and made our common currency more crisis-resistant. In order to arm ourselves better to face future challenges, we must take the necessary steps to complete the economic and monetary union. The Commission's roadmap is clear, its agenda is well known. This is an urgent priority for the autumn. We are finally making progress to complete our banking union, and I trust we can swiftly move towards a real capital markets union. The example of Greece shows that we can overcome problems when we join forces. The euro area has emerged from the crisis united and stronger because we choose common European solutions. Dear colleagues, as we look to the future of Europe, we must apply the spirit of finding common solutions to common challenges right across the board. This is what being part of the Union means, working together to address the issues affecting us all. Managing migration is one such common European challenge. It's not a responsibility of only one member state or another. This is why we stood side by side with Greece when it mattered the most. Thanks to the EU-Turkey statement, arrivals are now down by 97% in the Eastern Mediterranean. We backed that up with the financial means to match, with Greece receiving a total of €1.6 billion of EU funds to address migration challenges. And we set up a European border and coast guard to make our borders more secure. We now have over 1,600 officers across Europe, including 662 officers in Greece, at the borders with Turkey, Albania and the former Yugoslav Republic of Macedonia. The decisive action taken by the European Union has worked, but we can and must do more. Together, it's time that Member States agreed on the long-term solution covering all elements of migration to help us balance solidarity and responsibility. There would be no stronger and more tangible proof to Europeans that the Union will deliver on its promises and stay united on the things that matter the most. And I believe that to do this, we should look at the teachings of one of Europe's greatest minds, and Greece's greatest minds, Aristotle. He taught that virtue is the middle between extremes, that understanding and compassion are central to the way a society works, and that we are above all else social beings. In our long and tragic history, we see the damage wrought when we lose sight of this humanism. So the lesson for our future is simple. We must never lose sight of what binds us together, the values that we share, the living together in a society that we hold dear, and the compassion and solidarity that we show each other. This is what our Union is built on, and that's what our future must be built on. Thank you.
The first speaker is Mr. Esteban González Pons. You have the floor.
Gracias. Señor primer ministro, yo también hablo una lengua del sur, con acento del sur y dolor del sur. La última vez que tuvimos la suerte de escucharle fue en julio de 2015. Le noto muy cambiado. Entró usted y salió de esta Cámara con el aplauso de los populistas y de los eurófobos. Lo recordará usted perfectamente, y nosotros también. Hoy, al entrar, le hemos aplaudido todos. Grecia se encontraba entonces inmersa en una crisis económica y social sin precedentes. Era un país al borde del desahucio. Lo recuerda usted perfectamente, y nosotros también. Los europeos estuvimos a su lado. Estuvimos al lado de los griegos cuando nos necesitaron. Estuvimos al lado de los griegos cuando los mercados financieros le cerraron el grifo del dinero a su gobierno. Cuando el resto del mundo le dio la espalda al pueblo griego, su familia europea le tendió la mano y juntos logramos salir adelante. Juntos lo hemos hecho, no era fácil, pero lo hemos hecho juntos. Usted lo recordará perfectamente. Y nosotros también. No seré yo quien le reste méritos a su gobierno, señor Tsipras. Su gobierno ha sido actor imprescindible y necesario, como lo fue el del presidente Samaras. Pero su intervención de hoy, déjeme que le diga, ha pecado de triunfalismo y de personalismo. Y ha omitido, no sé si casual o intencionadamente, algunos claroscuros que todavía pesan sobre su gestión. La salida de Grecia del programa de rescate es un éxito que todos aplaudimos. Pero si alguien merece ser aplaudido no es su gobierno, son los ciudadanos griegos, porque han sufrido y han luchado más que nadie para sacar su país adelante. Los griegos son admirables y su dolor ha sido admirable. Le he oído hablar de los méritos de su gobierno, pero no le he oído hablar de los méritos de su pueblo, no le he oído hablar de los méritos de los ciudadanos griegos. Los ciudadanos griegos votaron por seguir en Europa y en el euro, mientras algunos de sus ministros luchaban contra molinos de viento. Seguro que usted aún lo recuerda. Y nosotros también. Este relato de éxito que hoy nos ha contado sobre Grecia está incompleto si omitimos la contribución europea, pero no la de los gobiernos y las instituciones, sino la de los ciudadanos europeos. Usted ha jugado hoy a confundir la Unión Europea con el neoliberalismo, con la troika, con los especuladores, con los mercaderes de dinero y, sin embargo, esa Unión Europea que, según usted, se ha convertido en más tecnocrática y en más nacionalista, ha sido la que ha sido la salvación de su gobierno y la salvación de su país. Tanto han criticado desde su partido las políticas de estabilidad que debería usted reconocer que gracias a las políticas de estabilidad países como Grecia, Portugal, España o Irlanda están hoy saliendo de la crisis. No están peor, están mejor que estaban económica y socialmente. Usted sabe que no fue la Europa de los bancos y las corporaciones la que sacó a Grecia del abismo, señor Tsipras, sino la Europa de los contribuyentes que cada mañana se levantan a trabajar. Han sido ahorros de jubilados, asalariados y pequeños empresarios de toda Europa los que han hecho posible el rescate de Grecia. Seguro que usted lo recuerda perfectamente y nosotros también. Europa no es solo un mercado. Europa son valores y principios. Es apego a la democracia, la justicia y el Estado de Derecho. Europa es solidaridad, es comprensión, es apoyo. Es ayudarnos los unos a los otros cuando lo necesitamos y no tirar piedras al techo de cristal, como debería ocurrir con la crisis de los emigrantes, no solo en Grecia, sino en todos los estados del sur, y como ocurrió este verano cuando los incendios arrasaron Grecia y el pueblo griego tuvo toda nuestra solidaridad. Europa, señor Tsipras, es hacer honor a la palabra dada, es sentarnos a la misma mesa, es vernos como aliados y como amigos, nunca como enemigos. Justo lo contrario de lo que hizo su gobierno al inicio de su mandato, cuando precisamente usted estuvo aquí y se acordará, y nosotros nos acordamos también, cuando se perdió un tiempo precioso criticando a la familia europea y entregándose al peor populismo económico. Seguramente usted recordará que se han perdido 100.000 millones de euros por la irresponsabilidad de su ministro, el señor Varoufakis, su famoso ministro estrella. Usted se acuerda de él, seguramente, y nosotros también. Afortunadamente, eso es el pasado. Le veo cambiado, señor Tsipras, muy cambiado, y me alegro. Se han dado pasos positivos, pero queda mucho camino por recorrer y algunas dudas por despejar. Nos preocupa que casi un mes después de salir del programa de rescate, los mercados sigan desconfiando de sus políticas económicas. Entienda que nos preocupe. Nos preocupa que el crecimiento continúe estancado y que las previsiones no sean muy optimistas. Y entienda que nos preocupe. Nos preocupa que siga habiendo sombras de clientelismo en la contratación pública griega. Y entienda que nos preocupe. Nos preocupa que casi 500.000 jóvenes griegos hayan tenido que abandonar Grecia. Y entienda que nos preocupa. Nos preocupa que unas próximas elecciones cambien su estilo político y la vuelta a la oposición signifique para su partido la vuelta al populismo. Y entienda que nos preocupe, porque nosotros, como ya le hemos demostrado, somos su familia. Hay muchas lecciones que aprender de la crisis, señor Tsipras. Sabemos que hay cosas que se podían haber hecho mejor y otras que tal vez convendría no haber hecho. Ahora usted tiene dos opciones: continuar por el camino de las reformas que acaba de emprender o volver al populismo y al radicalismo. En su mano está, y esperamos lo mejor de usted y de su gobierno. Se equivocó en 2015 cuando estuvo aquí, como el tiempo y los hechos han demostrado. Confío que esta vez sepa elegir la opción acertada, porque el populismo no es ni de derechas ni de izquierdas. Es populismo y siempre lo será. Recuerde una cosa: la extrema derecha es tan peligrosa como la extrema izquierda, al menos para los demócratas. Espero que usted lo recuerde, porque nosotros no nos vamos a olvidar.
La parola all'onorevole Bullmann a nome del gruppo dell'Alleanza Progressista e Socialisti e Democratici al Parlamento Europeo.
Prime Minister, let me start saying we are very sad how many lives were lost in this summer in the forest fires in Greece, other places as well in Europe, but especially in Greece. And let me add, we are very sad seeing you here today, reminding the hardship the Greek people had to go through, especially through the last 8 years. You did not mention this today, but you could have mentioned it. How many children were put into poverty during the last 8 years in Greece? How many families lost their homes? And here, my dear friends, from the PPE, we disagree. This is your austerity that caused this. This is not our austerity. And it was the representatives of your family in Athens offering the Greek people to leave the Eurozone with an unforeseeable impact on the Eurozone, with an unforeseeable impact on the Greek nation and on all over Europe. We will come back to that. You can be sure we will come back to that. So don't mix it up. We will come back to that. But we know exactly, Prime Minister, and you rightly did this in your great speech, to outline that Europe has to start for new endeavors, and that we have to be bold, and that we have not only to talk about the past, but also about the future, and that we have to shape the future, the European future. And if we would like to do that, we need a new vision, a new objective, a new dream, a new policy, and also our institutions have to be prepared for that. This is the topic of today. But let me also be clear, if we would like to have this new vision in Europe, all revolutions start at home. And each and every country has to contribute to this new endeavor. That is also for Greece. You found a lot of problems in front of you when you took over your government, and we have to be blunt on that. Our societies cannot be misled by greedy elites. Our societies cannot be fooled by those rich people who do not like to pay taxes. And our societies cannot be irritated by public administration working according to nepotistic politics and not according to the rule of law. And here, everybody has to do his and her homework, but especially also Greece. You know that, Prime Minister, and you reacted to that domestically. You reacted to the situation in foreign relations. I only can praise what you did with Prime Minister Zaev, and you solved problems in the Balkans for the future of Europe, for peace on the Balkans. My group is going to full-heartedly support you on that, because this is a good step forward, a cornerstone for the new Europe. But I only can encourage you not to stop domestic reforms, but rather to continue with domestic reforms which are necessary on the public administration, on the functioning of the rule of law, on striving towards a more fair and equal society. Let me tell you the following. My group started 2 years ago to renovate our own program. We decided that we cannot talk anymore about the economy without talking about the environment. We cannot talk anymore about the environment without talking about the social dimension. And we are suggesting for the new program for this European Union to strive towards the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, because we think this is the correct compass for the future. I don't have to give advice to you, Prime Minister, but only one idea. What if you go to Portugal, the new reshaped society of Greece goes to Portugal talking to Antonio Costa. You're going to Spain, talking to Pedro Sanchez. And you could say, look, I have an idea. You could also go to Italy. Salvini perhaps will not listen to you, but the Italian society, I'm pretty sure, would listen to you. And you could say, look, this Mediterranean area has a great heritage, but it could also have a great future. What about developing a master plan for safe and sustainable energy, a master plan for better logistics on land as well as on the sea, for fair and smart mobility, a master plan for high-quality services in tourism as well as in agriculture, the better products for the better future of the European Union, for the better world. And you say, this master plan we put up together as the region, as the societies, as the countries of the South. And once we have this master plan for the Mediterranean, we say, look, European Commission, we need your support. And you could support us on that, because this is the future of our region, this is the future of the European Union, and this is the future of the Mediterranean. And then you could say, look, political parties, if you come up with the lead candidates, if you would like to form the new mandate, the new governance, we will only vote for somebody who is fully-hearted supporting us on this master plan, because the whole European Union needs a master plan like this for the sake of the next generation. If you go that path, we will be with you, we will support you, and that would be the best for our children and grandchildren. I wish you luck.
Per il gruppo dei conservatori e riformisti, la parola all'onorevole Marias.
Κύριε Πρωθυπουργέ, κύριε Τσίπρα, μια και είμαι ο πρώτος από τους Έλληνες ευρωβουλευτές που λαμβάνει το λόγο, θα ήθελα να σας καλωσορίσω εδώ στο Ευρωπαϊκό μας Κοινοβούλιο. Ακούγοντάς σας, μου θυμήσατε τον κύριο Σαμαρά. Πριν 4 χρόνια καθόταν εκεί που κάθεστε εσείς και μας είπε για το success story του δικού του δευτέρου μνημονίου. Σήμερα εσείς μας είπατε για το success story του δικού σας τρίτου μνημονίου. Και πότε? Όταν αφήνετε καμένη γη, και δεν εννοώ το μάτι. Όταν έχετε μετατρέψει την Ελλάδα σε ένα απέραντο κοινωνικό νεκροταφείο. Όταν έχουμε χιλιάδες ανέργους. Όταν έχουμε εκατομμύρια φτωχούς. Όταν η νεολαία μας φεύγει στην ξενιτιά. Όταν υπάρχει πετσόκομμα των συντάξεων. Όταν έχουμε μισθούς πείνας. Όταν υπάρχει λαιλασία της δημόσιας περιουσίας με το κατοχικό ταμείο που θα λειτουργεί 99 χρόνια. Όταν έχουμε φορολογικό ρεσάλτο στις τσέπες των Ελλήνων, το φορομπηχτικό έμφυα, την αύξηση του ΦΠΑ στα νησιά του Αιγαίου, τα οποία δεν αντέχουν άλλους πρόσφυγες και παράνομους μετανάστες. Και αφήσατε αναπάντητα αμήλικτα ερωτήματα, κύριε Τσίπρα. Γι' αυτό σας κουνάει το χέρι ο κύριος Πόνς και το Ευρωπαϊκό Λαϊκό Κόμμα. Δεν μας είπατε που πήγαν τα 288 δισεκατομμύρια ευρώ, τα οποία πήρε η Ελλάδα ως δάνεια. Γιατί αν μας δίνατε την απάντηση, θα λέγατε αυτό που είπε ακόμη και ο κύριος Ντάισεμπλουμ, ότι αυτά τα κονδύλια πήγαν για να σώσουν τους δανειστές, για να σώσουν τις ξένες τράπεζες, για να σώσουν πραγματικά το ίδιο το ευρώ και όχι τους Έλληνες πολίτες. Γιατί αυτή είναι η πραγματικότητα. Γιατί, κύριε Τσίπρα, πρέπει να μας πείτε, εφαρμόζετε στο 100% τα μνημονιακά μέτρα και έχετε πάρει όμως μόνο το 70% του δανειακού κεφαλαίου του τρίτου μνημονίου και επιστρέψατε 24 δισεκατομμύρια ευρώ σαν μπουρμπουάρ πίσω στους δανειστές, ενώ μπορούσατε να αξιοποιήσετε αυτά τα χρήματα, να δημιουργήσετε ένα ταμείο σωτηρίας δανειοληπτών, να μην χάσουν οι Έλληνες τα σπίτια τους από τα κοράκια, να ανακεφαλαιοποιήσετε τα ασφαλιστικά ταμεία για να μην μειωθούν οι συντάξεις, για να δημιουργήσετε 300.000 νέες θέσεις εργασίας για να έχουμε ανάπτυξη. Και εφαρμόζετε τον προϋπολογισμό λιτότητας των δανειστών. Και σας ρωτάω, κύριε Τσίπρα, Θα εφαρμόσετε αυτό που είχατε πει το 2014. Θα εγγράψετε τις γερμανικές αποζημιώσεις στον κρατικό προϋπολογισμό. Θα δώσετε εντολή να εφαρμοστεί η απόφαση του διστόμου για τις γερμανικές αποζημιώσεις. Και εφαρμόζετε την ενισχυμένη εποπτεία, την οποία αποδεχθήκατε. Τον κανονισμό 472. Εφαρμόστε τουλάχιστον ένα σημείο από αυτόν τον κανονισμό που σας επιτρέπει να κάνετε λογιστικό έλεγχο του χρέους. Αυτή είναι η πραγματικότητα. Αλλά υπάρχει άλλος δρόμος, κύριε Τσίπρα. Υπάρχει άλλος δρόμος ο οποίος πρέπει να εφαρμοστεί. Και μας είπατε για την κατάπτυστη συμφωνία των Πρεσπών που κάνει πραγματικά τζάμπα μάγκα τον κύριο Ζάεφ, ο οποίος θα έρθει εδώ την Πέμπτη και θα παριστάνει τον δίθεν Μακεδόνα. Θα μιλάει για δίθεν μακεδονική εθνότητα, θα μιλάει για δίθεν μακεδονική γλώσσα, θα μιλάει για δίθεν μακεδονική υπηκότητα και όχι για Βόρειο-Μακεδόνες. Εμείς λοιπόν πιστεύουμε σε ειδική σχέση της Ελλάδας μέσα στην Ευρωπαϊκή Ένωση και μέσα στην Ευρωζώνη. Μια ειδική σχέση με ρυθμίσεις σε σημαντικούς τομείς της ελληνικής οικονομίας που θα δώσει ανάσα στην Ελλάδα για να υπάρξει ισχυρή Ελλάδα μέσα στην Ευρώπη των εθνών και των πατρίδων, μέσα στην Ευρώπη που θα σέβεται την εθνική ταυτότητα, θα σέβεται τις εθνικές παραδόσεις, θα προστατεύει την ελληνική οικογένεια, θα προστατεύει την ευρωπαϊκή οικογένεια και θα λύσει το δημογραφικό όχι με μαζική μετανάστευση, αλλά με τη στήριξη της ίδιας της ευρωπαϊκής οικογένειας. Αυτές είναι οι θέσεις μας, κύριε Τσίπρα. Παραμένουμε αμετανόητα αντιμνημονιακοί και παλεύουμε για να πετάξουμε την Τρόικα έξω από την Ελλάδα και να ξαναπάρουμε πίσω την πατρίδα μας. Ευχαριστώ.
Per il gruppo dell'Alleanza Democratici e dei Liberali, la parola all'onorevole Verhofstadt.
Thank you very much. Prime Minister, welcome back, I should say, to the European Parliament, because, you know, 4 years ago, you were a little bit afraid, I thought, to come to this plenary here. But today you are not here to talk about the Greek crisis like 4 years ago. You have a little bit of more solid ground under your feet. Let me tell it like that. And you want to talk, and you have talked also about our common future, the future of the European Union. But let me nevertheless say something first on the Greek crisis. I think that we can all say, whatever our opinion is about what happened the last years, that it is good news. Good news that Greece no longer depends on European aid. But I have to tell you, I'm not so enthusiastic as the German Minister of Finance, Mr. Scholz, who said the 3 Greek rescue package are a sign of solidarity. Well, if this whole exercise was a sign of solidarity, for me, he can keep it. I am more of the opinion, I have to tell you, of Mr. Dijsselbloem, who said, in fact, a few days ago, a few weeks ago, in his assessment of the Greek crisis, that both sides are to blame. Greece, at the one hand, for the fact that they were not reforming deep enough, fast enough, and at the other hand, Europe for merely focusing only on pure accountancy and austerity, instead of asking from day one what didn't happen, deep reforms in the Greek economy and in the Greek society. And that has all been, and still, my problem with what happened in Greece. So the key question now is, beyond this Greek crisis, Mr. Tsipras, is Greece, and by extension the whole Eurozone, is ready for the next crisis? Because we know that the next crisis will come. We don't know at what moment. If we knew it, we should be rich, naturally. But it will come. The end of the economic cycle is there. And the question is, are we ready for that? Well, my answer in this debate is no. Europe is not ready for a next crisis that can overcome us. And in fact, Greece was in fact a small problem. Let's be honest. What we are talking about, yeah, I call it a small problem. Seen from here, you call it naturally a very big problem. But let's face the reality. The accumulated debt for 3 decades was 300 billion euro. You know what it is? That's 2% of the yearly European wealth that we create, 15 trillion a year. And I can tell you, I was outside in China and in America and in the Treasury in America explaining the Greek crisis. And I have to tell you, I tried to explain the Greek crisis. I give the figures and they said to me, what's the problem? The problem is naturally that 20 years after the introduction of the euro and the single currency, and that has to be, I think, hopefully, the conclusion of this debate with you. 20 years after the introduction of the euro, Mr. Tsipras, we are still not capable to face such problems as we have with Greece and as can happen tomorrow with other countries in the European Union, because we have not the right institutions, we have not the right governance, we have only, in fact, the ECB and Mr. Draghi to steer the European and Economic and Monetary Union. And you know, I know, and everybody knows in this House that this is impossible. We need a full-fledged banking union. And Mr. Dombrovskis, you say, yeah, we make progress, but we don't have it today. We need a common Eurozone budget, and we don't have it today. We need a safe euro asset that can be a eurobond, and the Germans will call it differently, or something similar, to compete also with the other big currency, with the dollar, and we don't have it, this safe euro asset. And we need also a European Minister of Finance instead of 3 commissioners responsible for the euro as today, and we don't have it. And that's the problem. The conclusion is that tomorrow, if something happens again in Greece, in Italy, or in another member state of the European Union, this monetary union is not capable again to face the reality, and the worst things can happen again. And 4 years ago, you remember that, Mr. Tsipras, we got a little bit an energetic exchange of views in the House here. Some have said even ferocious. I have to tell you, this time I keep it moderate because I have to save my energy for Mr. Orban this afternoon, so be aware of that. But you certainly remember that I asked you the question at the end, how you want to be remembered in history, as an electoral accident or as a revolutionary reformer. Well, you're certainly not an electoral accident, that is clear, because you're still here. But my answer today is you didn't become the one or the other. The reality on the ground in Greece, in spite of all the efforts that so many people, so many ordinary Greek citizens have made, my feeling and my assessment is that the old Greek system is still largely in place. I don't see markets opening, I don't see professions liberated, I don't see a private, vibrant sector, financial sector active in the Greek economy. But that's the same not only for Greece. The old system of the Eurozone is also still in place. And you know one thing, there is a word, the word crisis. The word crisis, as we all know, comes from classic Greek, krinome. And that means, in fact, a moment of truth, a moment of decision, a moment of choice. Well, I think that Greece, Italy and the whole Eurozone will remain under threat if we don't use in the coming months, in the coming years, this moment of the end of the Greek crisis to do the refoundation of our union, the reform of the monetary union. And if that is the case, that should be a scandal, a tragedy for Europe, not only for Greece. So my appeal to you is, I liked the end of your story, when you did an appeal to all pro-Europeans to come together. I like it. Why? Because you didn't fall into the trap of the extremists of the right or to the left, but because they exist also on the left, who are saying no to Europe, who are against Europe, and we think that only national recipes can save us. I like that. And it's good that you have told that in the face of your own friends.
Prima di dare la parola all'onorevole Keller, voglio ricordare che se i presidenti dei gruppi parlano oltre il tempo loro assegnato, tolgono il tempo poi ai parlamentari del loro gruppo. La parola all'onorevole Ska Keller a nome del gruppo dei Verdi.
thank you, and thank you, Prime Minister, for joining this debate on the future of Europe. And indeed, there is much to talk about on the future of Europe, and much is at stake, because the very existence of this amazing project here on this continent is being put into question. And we need to find new strength for our European project. And actually, I think a look back will be helpful in that. A look back will be helpful in looking forward. And for me, one of the key things about the Greek crisis was that one of the fundamental promises of the European Union was put into doubt. And that was the promise of the European Union bringing prosperity, bringing well-being to its citizens. And that promise was broken. Europe was all of a sudden bringing poverty. And of course, we can argue a lot, and it's all right that there was a reason for why there was a crisis, which was not in Europe. And of course, you can say it was obviously national finance ministers who were doing the main part of the job, so not really Brussels. That's all true. But it doesn't solve the problem of Europe was not able to find a common solution of solidity and solidarity. But prosperity and well-being, that is one of the fundamental policy goals. That's why we do policies, right, for our citizens, to bring them for a better life. And so far, we had a lot of nice promises also here in Europe about how nice it would be to have a social Europe, to have more social policies, but we don't have them yet. I think one of the key lessons from Greece needs to be that we finally create that social Europe, that we get binding social targets, which are on the same level as the economic rules that we already have. We don't need more empty declarations. We need access to proper housing and to medical care for all Europeans. We need an unemployment support scheme to protect citizens from economic crisis and also to allow member states to face asymmetric shocks and to recover more quickly. And we need a framework directive on minimum income schemes so that we have a safety net everywhere ensuring well-being in the European Union. And first and foremost, we also need to address the big problem of youth unemployment, which is becoming even more than an economic problem. Because if you have a whole generation without a perspective, then this is also a problem of democracy. And here I would agree, since 2008, we still haven't come to terms about how to prevent any future financial crisis. We have member states who are blocking the banking union parts, like the deposit guarantee scheme. Any proposals for mechanisms to absorb asymmetric economic shocks have been spineless so far. And also our economic policies are being held hostage by national politics, and we're not getting where we need to be. But crisis can happen at any moment, and we need to be prepared and we need to be resilient. And we should really abandon the dogma of fiscal consolidation for its own sake and rather focus on sustainable investments that soften the effects of economic shocks and prevent their escalation and proliferation. And we also need a support mechanism for member states in an economic hardship that corresponds to European principles and European rules. And this is not only an act of solidarity, it's not just a nice handout. I think it's a very vital piece for the survival of our union. And to have a sustainable economy that provides good jobs, we also need to finally start the social ecological transformation of our economy. And there we have some good examples in Greece. Local initiatives such as on the island of Tinos on recycling, the energy social enterprise of Garditsa, very important trailblazers for the future economy. It's very good to have the local initiatives, but we also need to have a European plan for the social ecological transition. Already now, more than 1 million jobs exist in the renewable sector. So leading the way in terms of climate will also pay off in terms of jobs. And joint European action is also needed with regards to refugee protection. Greece was the main point of arrival for Syrians, Iraqis, Afghanis fleeing from war and from persecution. Later on it was Italy at some point, it was Spain, it was Malta, and who knows, maybe it's going to be Poland tomorrow, we don't know. But we can no longer leave a single member state or even an island alone to do the job that we all together have to do. The European Parliament has put forward a good proposal, I believe, and I really hope, Prime Minister, that your colleagues in the Council will finally make a move on that. It was the fishermen from Lesbos, it was the grandmothers in Idomeni, and it was the many helpers all over Greece who saved so many lives, but they also saved humanity itself, and they saved the face of all of us in Europe. And I wonder, what are we giving back in return? And those courageous people who saved life, who are saving lives, they should not be criminalized, as we see that in some member states. Greece has been hit hard by climate change. Many of the previous speakers have mentioned the forest fires, which were really, really severe. And of course, it was not just Greece. We also had forest fires up in Sweden even. Europe finally needs to get its act together to combat climate change. This is really a vital question for our planet and our continent. And Greece has much to offer in regards to a solution. It has plenty of sun, plenty of wind. Oil drilling, though, is a thing of the past. It poses serious risks to the environment and it harms the climate that we all depend on. I really hope that Greece will abandon oil drilling plans and that it will be a front runner in renewables and lead the path as it can be. And islands like Tilos show the way. And I really hope that there will be more examples like this. And lastly, Prime Minister, I really want to congratulate on your truly historic achievement. You have found a solution to a conflict where all the predecessors have failed. And the agreement on North Macedonia is an example for Europe. It's an example for how to solve conflicts without violence, without big struggle, peacefully solving conflicts, trying to live in harmony with your neighbours. That's really an example for Europe. Thank you for that.
Per il gruppo confederale della Sinistra Unitaria Europea, Sinistra Verde Nordica, la parola all'onorevole Zimmer.
Vielen Dank, Herr Präsident. Sehr geehrter Herr Premierminister, ja, das dritte Memorandum ist vor wenigen Tagen zu Ende gegangen. Das ist ein großer Erfolg, aber, und hier widerspreche ich ausdrücklich Herrn Pons González, es ist eben kein Akt der Solidarität gewesen, sondern es ist eine ungeheure Last gewesen, die den Menschen in Griechenland auferlegt worden ist. Und es kann nicht als das Musterbeispiel dafür gelten, wie künftig mit Krisen in der Europäischen Union umgegangen wird. Das muss klar gesagt werden. Das, was hier geschehen ist, war eine humanitäre Katastrophe. Und die haben die Institutionen und insbesondere auch die Rechten mit verursacht, weil sie nämlich meinten, eine linke Regierung in die Schranken weisen zu müssen und sagen zu müssen, Alternativen dürfen gar nicht erst gedacht werden. Das ist ihr Herangehen gewesen. Allerdings, und auch darüber sind wir uns einig, Euphorie ist heute nicht angebracht. Es ist wirklich noch nicht alles vorbei. Die Schulden existieren ja noch. Sie sind mit dem Ende der Memoranden nicht verschwunden. Die Forderung nach dem Erwirtschaften von Haushaltsüberschüssen bleibt bestehen. Das Land bleibt unter einer gewissen Art von Kontrolle. Und die Sicherung einer humanitären Versorgung der Flüchtlinge erfordert viel Engagement seitens der gesamten Europäischen Union. Jetzt müssen Voraussetzungen geschaffen werden, damit Griechenland wirklich auch agieren kann. Was ist aus der Schuldenkonferenz geworden? Nicht nur für Griechenland, sondern für alle anderen Staaten, die ebenfalls unter einer Schuldenlast stehen. Es ist doch völlig klar, bei einem Land wie Italien beispielsweise kann man nicht so agieren, wie man es mit Griechenland getan hat. Wir wissen alle, dass wir vor einer kommenden Finanzkrise stehen. Soll das Ganze wieder wie ein Kartenhaus zusammenbrechen? Wir brauchen Nachhaltigkeit, wir brauchen Stabilität, wir brauchen mehr Demokratie. Wir müssen den Menschen in Griechenland, in den anderen Mitgliedstaaten endlich ein Zeichen der Hoffnung und der Gemeinsamkeit, der Solidarität geben. Was zum Beispiel nicht geht, und das müssen wir nachträglich auch füreinander klären, es geht nicht, dass ein Mitglied der Europäischen Union aus dem europäischen Recht herausgenommen wird, dass billigend die Verletzung von Grundrechten in Kauf genommen werden seitens der EU, auch seitens der Kommission, dass wir von Grundrechtecharta, Europacharta, Sozialrechtscharta nicht mehr sprechen. Das geht alles nicht. Hier erwarten wir ein Umdenken. Nur dann können wir auch den Menschen in der Europäischen Union das Signal geben, was es ausmacht, in einer gemeinsamen Union zu sein. Und im Übrigen, wer repräsentiert denn die Zukunft der EU? Das sind für mich vor allem jene Menschen, jene Griechen, Griechinnen gewesen, die mit großem Mut und hohem Engagement soziale Netzwerke der Solidarität aufgebaut haben, sei es als Nachbarschaftshilfe, medizinische Versorgung, vieles andere mehr. Sie haben die Botschaft übermittelt, dass es die Solidarität zwischen den Menschen ist, die Solidarität auch zwischen den Völkern in der Europäischen Union ist, die uns zusammenhält. Es muss um ein Europa der Menschen gehen und nicht einfach darum gehen, höchstmögliche Profite oder Rückzahlungen für die Banken herauszubekommen. Griechenland hat, wie Premierminister Tsipras feststellte, seine moderne Odyssee durchgestanden und Ithaka erreicht. Das ist aber nur der erste Schritt. Das ist nur der erste Schritt, das ist eine Zwischenstation. Wir müssen jetzt gemeinsam dafür kämpfen, dass die Zukunft der EU gemeinsam mit Griechenland, gemeinsam mit den anderen bedrohten Staaten gesichert werden kann. In dem Sinne für mehr Solidarität, für eine Kohäsion, für soziale Gerechtigkeit zwischen den Mitgliedstaaten, für den Abbau von Ungleichgewichten. Das ist die Zukunft der Europäischen Union, und da hat Griechenland uns große Lehren mit auf den Weg gegeben.
Per il gruppo Europa della Libertà e della Democrazia Diretta, la parola all'onorevole Agea.
Signor Presidente, colleghi, Primo Ministro Tsipras, lo dico subito, nel futuro dell'Unione Europea non dovrà più ripetersi un caso drammatico come quello del suo paese, la Grecia. Un caso in cui l'Europa ha mostrato la sua faccia più spietata e malvagia, con burocrati e professori intenti a giocare al più grande esperimento socio-economico della storia. Pochi mesi fa avete festeggiato la fine del programma di austerità, ma i risultati della Troica sono sotto gli occhi di tutti. Il 95% dei 216 miliardi erogati fino al 2016 non sono andati a beneficio dei cittadini, ma sono finiti nelle banche private, sempre loro. Come per le privatizzazioni, gran parte del patrimonio pubblico, aeroporti, ferrovie, porti, sono finiti nelle mani di imprese tedesche e francesi, sempre loro. E non elenco la drammatica litania dei dati sul PIL, reddito, povertà, disoccupazione, tagli alle pensioni, senza tetto, suicidi, bambini ridotti alla fame. E pensare che per professori come Mario Monti, ex premier italiano, proclamato dallo spread e non dal popolo, la Grecia è stata la manifestazione più concreta del grande successo dell'euro. Qualche giorno fa ha pure annunciato di pensare a un ritorno in politica, perché glielo chiedono i cittadini. Forse il primo sciagurato tentativo di misurarsi con il consenso popolare non gli è bastato. Primo ministro Tsipras, lei non ha perso con l'Europa, lei ha perso col suo popolo. Inizialmente è vero, ha provato a resistere, poi l'Europa ha chiesto e lei ha fatto, anzi ha ordinato e lei ha eseguito. E per fortuna che doveva costruire un'altra Europa. La verità è che questa Unione è sempre la solita, o piace alla Germania e a pochi altri, oppure non è. I paesi del Mediterraneo, quelli che dovevano starle vicino, le hanno voltato le spalle. Anche il precedente governo italiano a parole le prometteva aiuto, ma poi è stato il complice più convinto delle scellerate politiche di austerità. Questo è quello che ha fatto Matteo Renzi con la Grecia, e lei lo sa. Questo è quello che hanno fatto i governi dei cosiddetti socialisti. Primo ministro Tsipras, non me lo sta chiedendo, ma le voglio dare un consiglio. Ci pensi bene, 2, 100, 1000 volte prima di aderire al gruppo europeo dei socialisti alla prossima legislatura. Ci pensi bene prima di allearsi con chi ha umiliato il suo popolo. E il problema è tutto qui. Una unione di nome e non di fatto. Un enorme divario tra nord e sud. Un'unione forte con i deboli e debole con i forti. E la verità è che noi, paesi del Mediterraneo, non vogliamo continuare ad essere l'utile idiota di Europa. E questo tema deve essere posto immediatamente ai tavoli europei. La Commissione europea e il Presidente Juncker lo devono affrontare con lo stesso eccezionale piglio e l'incredibile determinazione, così come risolvono ben altre priorità. Per esempio l'ora legale. L'Europa è stata crudele con i greci, ha commesso uno storico errore politico, economico, sociale e morale. A nome di questa istituzione, l'unica eletta dai cittadini, mi sento di chiedere scusa al popolo greco e per il bene e il futuro dell'Europa tutto questo non dovrà mai più accadere con nessun altro popolo europeo, mai più.
Per il gruppo Europa delle Nazioni e della Libertà, la parola all'onorevole De Graaf.
President, I welcome Mr. Tsipras in this Parliament. And I tell you, the future of Europe is getting brighter every day. But that is not because of all these stories about, these hallelujah stories about Greece, that is going so well. Of course, Mr. Tsipras has achieved a lot, but is it over now? No. Still, the future of Europe is brighter every day, and that is because the strong ties that are being built between Italy and the Visegrad countries, which show the victory of rationality over the destructive forces of socialism or liberalism, or whatever they want to call themselves. It are the countries where the bright politicians that truly represent the people fight the destructive policies of the EU. They fight mass migration, they fight a killing policy of austerity, they fight growing terrorism. And therefore, I welcome Mr. Tsipras, who was the hope of the Greek people. And I understand also from his words here that he has been forced by the Troika to bend to their financial demands. And now he is speaking their language. It has whipped and tortured the people of Greece into unemployment, into poverty and social disruption, not in the least because of mass migration. And everybody knows it was not about adjustment of the Greek economy. It's about saving German and French international banks. And well, that more or less succeeded. But is the ordeal over for Greece? No, it's not. I think that Greece will be enslaved by this financial burden for years to come, perhaps into eternity. So I hope that the next elections in Greece will see a change, the true change that was promised by Mr. Tsipras. And perhaps, since he is let a little bit more off the hook, that he can also adjust his government policies into one that really and truly listen to the needs of the Greek people who are suffering. They're suffering because of the euro. They're suffering because of an EU project that was not prepared to stand in for Greece and to protect the democratic rights of the Greek people. Thank you.
La parola all'onorevole Papadakis, non iscritto.
Η δίθεν νέα εποχή που εξαγγέλει ο κύριος Τσίπρας είναι η διατήρηση των 700 μνημονιακών νόμων, δέσμευση που έδωσε και εδώ, είναι η εποπτεία διαρκείας Ευρωπαϊκής Ένωσης, τα ματωμένα υπερπλεονάσματα δεκαετιών, η χρηματοδότηση και φοροαπαλλαγές για την κερδοφορία του κεφαλαίου. Τα ψίχουλα σε βάθος τετραετίας είναι πρόκληση για τους εργαζόμενους και μηδενίζονται από τη σκληρή φορολογία, τη νέα μείωση των συντάξεων και του αφορολόγητου. Αποδεικνύεται ότι δίκαιη ανάπτυξη στο άδικο εκμεταλλευτικό σύστημα δεν υπάρχει, ότι η Ευρωπαϊκή Ένωση μόνο χειρότερη γίνεται για τους λαούς. Το μέλλον της Ευρωπαϊκής Ένωσης είναι οι κούφιες συλλογικές συμβάσεις που στην Ελλάδα αφήνουν απ' έξω το 90% των εργαζομένων και όσους δουλεύουν για 300 και 400 ευρώ, με την ανεργία και την ευέλικτη εργασία στα ύψη, μέσα στην εργασιακή γαλέρα της κυβέρνησης ΣΥΡΙΖΑ-ΑΝΕΛ, όπως και επικυβερνήσεων Νέας Δημοκρατίας και ΠΑΣΟΚ. Είναι οι πληστηριασμοί σπιτιών, το χτύπημα του δικαιώματος στην απεργία, είναι οι απελάσεις μεταναστών ή ο εγκλωβισμός τους στα νησιά. Η πολιτική υπέρ του κεφαλαίου είναι που τροφοδοτεί τις ακροδεξιές δυνάμεις, γι' αυτό είναι απάτη το ψευτοδίλημμα προοδευτική από τη μία έναντι συντηρητικών από την άλλη. Το όραμα του ΣΥΡΙΖΑ είναι αυτό που έχει συμφωνήσει με τις Ηνωμένες Πολιτείες, Ευρωπαϊκή Ένωση και το κεφάλαιο. Το μόνο που έχει να προσφέρει στο λαό είναι η διοένωση της φτώχειας και της εκμετάλλευσης και νέους μεγαλύτερους κινδύνους από την εμπλοκή της χώρας στους αμερικανοτοικούς σχεδιασμούς στα Βαλκάνια, την πρόθεση επικίνδυνων συμφωνιών όπως αυτή των Πρεσπών που βάζει τους λαούς σε νέες περιπέτειες. Το Κομμουνιστικό Κόμμα της Ελλάδας παλεύει ενάντια στα υπερελιστικά σχέδια, παλεύει για κατάργηση όλων των μνημονιακών νόμων, ανάκτηση των απολειών, ικανοποίηση των σύγχρονων αναγκών και αυτά μόνο ο λαός με την πάλη του μπορεί να τα επιβάλλει.